Oh, hello, Rob White here for Who the F is Rob White? And I know what you're thinking. You're like, where's Joe Winchell? Where's Millennial Stoner? Well, unfortunately, Joe couldn't make it today because Joe had some transplants, hair transplants that have gone awry. So he'll be taking off. He'll be on assignment for a couple of days. Tune back in, I believe, next week. He should be all fixed and remedied. Anyway, on to my show. This is Who the F is Rob White, the show where I interview and hang out with stand-up comics. Today on the show we have our first non-stand-up comic. He used to be a stand-up comic and he's a podcaster now. I'll let him explain. Guys, Don Sill, everybody. Don Sill.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Don Sill here. Check me out Instagram at Donversations, and you can check out my show, Donversations. That's also on the Governor's Comedy Club podcast network. And I'm getting inked today, man. But Rob White.
That's right. We're doing some tattoo-doodles today. Are you nervous?
I always get a little nervous before I get the tattoo. You know, I got to kind of get yourself in, like...
You kind of have to. If you're not, then it's just weird. We've been here before. This is not your first tattoo, and this is not your first tattoo from me. So
right, yeah, we got this one here, this tribute to my brother that you did. You knocked it out of the park.
That's right, yeah, that was his... He did that drawing, was it now? No, there was a girl that you had that did a drawing of him.
An illustrator named Taz did the drawing, and then... we put his these are his birth flowers around him there for March. Yeah, tulips, I think it is.
It was a nice piece.
Yeah.
We'll do yet another nice piece here today.
Nice, man.
We'll do a couple of lines and get you in, and then we'll BS as we do.
There we go. I always call it a good pain.
Yeah.
It's like a good pain. It hurts, but you know it's something that's going to be cool, so you kind of bear with it a little bit more.
No, it's true. It's like an uncomfortable kind of burning sensation. But when you're done, you get something that lasts for the rest of your life.
Lifetime, something that's super cool. And I do love the shop, Black Duck. This place is awesome.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
I love all the stencils. These are all.
We got so much weird artwork and paintings and flash on the walls down here. That's been a thing of mine to really. Coat the shop in the old school artwork and everything like that, because I feel like that's what makes a tattoo shop cool, is all that kind of weird stuff. There was a comedian, I can't remember who it was, and he said it in his set. Not a Long Island guy. If this sounds familiar, please let me know. But he nailed what a tattoo shop is. He's like, it looks like a dive bar that someone's doing surgery in.
That's a perfect example.
It's so perfect. That guy should have that quote put in every tattoo shop, because this is what it looks like. It looks like a TGI Fridays on acid. There's a buffalo head in our wall. There's a picture of my dad, which is scarier than the buffalo.
But you do a great job at setting it up and decorating it. It looks really super cool. It's like a cool, fun, hangout place.
It's supposed to be interesting and strange and bizarre. And, well, you know what? It's funny because it's a weird background for tattoos, but your podcast has a interesting backdrop, too. But it's a green screen, and it's Wayne's World. It's the basement from Wayne's World, right?
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout-out. When we first went into COVID, we had to leave the Governor's Studios because I was doing a game show there called Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up. And it was like Yeah, it was like a fun game show type of thing that we did with the comics. And we would have comics basically judging other comics, and it was just a lot of fun. And so once COVID happened, we had to leave that and go into Zoom, which who knew what Zoom was at the time. So we start doing that, and then I wanted a different background than what I had, which was just a window. So I decided to why not give a homage to the OG guys that were doing a show in their basement. Wayne and Garth, man. So the background's awesome. I stuck with it. I've had it now 4 years. And yeah.
That was Wayne and Garth doing like a public access show.
Yeah, they're doing
that's what that was. That was public access. Is it still around, public access?
It is, man. And dude, I had a public access show. Paul Bond was on my show.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, we had Benny Rizzuti on my show. We had Jeff King Cole. You know Jeff Cole?
Jeff King. He called himself Jeff King Cole?
Back in the day, he called himself Jeff King Cole. So Jeff Cole was on there, and it was like a cable access show. We did it right in Riverhead.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was.
I never got to do cable access, but I remember like watching that as a kid because they always had like the strangest kind of stuff going on. This guy Carl Bruno used to be on all the time. It was just him in like some random living room playing guitar. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on?
It was like the birth of podcasts, really.
Yeah.
And because anybody can get it, like it was free. You just show up and schedule a time and you could have a show. So we had a show that was called No Frills Comedy, and it had comics on there and all that stuff. It was right in Riverhead. Yeah, those are good times, man. Tony Walker was on it.
Is that the building that had the giant satellite on it out in Riverhead?
Yeah.
It was a weird building out there. It always freaked me out. I'm like, what are they doing? Talking to the space shuttle?
Yeah,
that's
dude.
That's so crazy. And like we talked about it or touched upon it earlier, but now you're the first one on here who's not been a stand-up comic, but you did stand-up comedy back when you before you got into podcasting, right? Was that your first?
My stomping grounds was McGuire's. And I would perform McGuire's every week, and it was open mic level. But again, just like now, how the comedy scene is, open micers could mix it up with headliners, like local headliners, and you become part of the group. And plus, I had a radio show called the Double D Show on WUSB at the time.
Oh, Stony Brook, yeah, the college.
Yeah, so I would have comics come on there. So I was networking constantly, and I loved it. So I was performing with a lot of great guys like. Guys that took me under their wings at the time was like Greg Vaccarello, Peaches.
Oh yeah, Peaches Rodriguez. Yeah.
He was around back then. Joe Starr was around back then. So it was a super cool group of people that would be there every week. And then Tim Gage.
Tim Gage, yep.
I saw him not that long ago.
He was there at one of my last shows ever, and even though he doesn't remember it, it was my major bomb story that caused me to lose all confidence in doing stand-up ever again.
So it wasn't even like I'm done, guys, thank you and good night. It was more of a sad sort of...
It was a mix of that because the bomb was so bad. So this is, again, late 90s, early 2000s. That show Oz. Remember that show Oz?
My dad was on that show.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he was a background actor on it.
Oh, no shit. Yeah. So you know very well. So, like, that show came out, and it was real edgy and about prisoners. And it was one of the first shows of its time to show a lot of male frontal nudity.
My dad was nude in it.
Oh, no shit. Was he really?
We found out. Well,
this is awesome.
It was an ass. It was an ass scene.
Yeah.
We were like watching it. My grandmother's like, "Your dad's on that show Oz. We're gonna watch it. It's about a wizard, I think."
Like, I don't know. Penis doing there?
And then all of a sudden, like, here's your dad. And like, there's my dad's ass in a shower. My grandmother's like, "Turn away. Don't look at that." I'm like, "Too late. Weird. Freaking weird." Nah.
No, that's awesome, man. I was trying to get Evan Seinfeld on my podcast, actually.
Oh, yeah. He was in that for Biohazard.
Yeah. But so I had a whole routine that used to do really well about Oz. And again, remember, it's a different time period. It's not today. So there was some stuff that you can't say today, kind of. So I would say, like, the Oz has become a real big hit, especially in the gay community, because there's so much male frontal. So now the crime rate went up because they all want to go to prison. And then he's like, take me to Oz, and, I want Anna Bisi to,
jackhammer me in the ass,
Yeah, exactly.
I get you. Okay.
So I used to always do well. So one day we're in this club in Stony Brook, right on the campus too, and so there's all these college kids, and it was crowded. And Tim Gage was there. There's a whole line of comics. So I show up, and there's this guy who runs the show at the time. I don't know if you know him, or his name was Saad Sarawana.
Yeah, that's
Saad,
a random one. Okay.
Yeah, Saad Sarawana. He was known as the Wacky Packy. He was a Pakistani comic.
The Wacky Packy?
Yeah, the Wacky Packy.
This is getting...
Well, that was what he called himself.
Time. That was when,
All right.
And that's what he called himself.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we didn't call him it behind his back.
No, you called him worse than that. Come on. Wacky Packy, that's a brown ball.
So the Wacky Packy, it's his show. So me, a few months in or whatever, about a year in, I'm thinking I'm, cock of the walk. So I just show up to get put on. So Wacky Packy didn't like that too much. So he's like, all right, I'll put you on, but you got to follow the.
Wacky Packy didn't like it much.
So
like a cartoon character.
I don't want to laugh.
No, it's fine. I can tattoo an epileptic and an earthquake,
So he goes, all right, putting you on after a juggler. So I go, whatever, man. And then Tim Gage is like, I don't know if you want to do that. And this is when Tim Gage, I don't know if you knew him back then, when he had long hair. He looked like Ben Franklin.
Yep. That was, yep. He
had like long, thin hair, and he's balding. It looked like a Ben Franklin haircut. So he's there. He's like, I don't know if you want to do that. Go on after a juggler. And in my mind, again, not really experienced, I'm like, how, a juggler? So what? Like,
yeah, I never heard that old lore.
Yeah.
Beware of going on after a juggler. That's a new one, but all right, I'll go. I'll never do it. Now that I'm hearing this is a bad luck thing.
Yeah. So then he says, then I go, I'm going to the bar. Do you want me to get you a beer? And he goes, no, I never drink before I go on. Are you crazy? So I'm looking at Tim like, what's going on here? Like, the vibes are bad already. Like, Wacky Packy's mad at me for showing up. Tim Gage is like, give me an attitude. So I'm like, and now I got to go on after a juggler. So I said, all right. So I'm watching the juggler. This guy killing it. He's juggling bowling balls and all kinds of stuff. Like, and then he brings out his grand finale giant ball. Like, he was doing all kinds of crazy shit. Like, this juggler was insane. He gets a roaring ovation. Like, it wasn't a standing go, but might as well have been. Oh, you know who else was there? Was Stevie GB.
Oh yeah,
and
Stevie GB. Well,
he was sitting at one of the tables when I went up. Like, he was, I think he either went up already or was getting ready to go up. So he's sitting there, and he said, "This is his bow tie era." When he's wearing the bow tie.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep, the accountant.
So I go up after that, and already you could feel, like I'm following a huge applause. And now, all right, here's your next guy. And of course, Wacky Packy doesn't, bring me out good. He's just like, all right, here's your next guy. He's really funny. Here he is, folks. So I come out, and I go almost, and another thing, I hear some guy in the front row who saw me there at the club, that same place, like a week or two before. He goes, oh, this guy's really good. So in my mind, I'm like, I feel a little bit of pressure. Like,
oh, it's like a jinx, though.
Yes.
It's like, don't say. We
Sometimes
do great here.
Yeah, sometimes compliments mess me up, right? So I'm like, oh, no. So I go right into my Oz material. And all of a sudden, I start to notice out in the audience that there's like two big tablesfuls of homosexuals. And they're not enjoying it. So they get up and they walk out. And I see Tim Gage throw his arms up like he's in the back. And he's like, jeez, there goes our audience.
Just walk in the fucking audience. Oh, no.
So at this point now, I'm all kind of confused and like all kinds of weird emotions, like flight or fight is going through. So I say to myself, all right, it's time to fight. So I get into bad wrestler character. I'm like, oh, go ahead and leave. Ooh, boo-hoo. And I start like mocking them as they leave.
You're going to double down on this.
Yeah, and I was like,
dig this hole right here.
So I literally, instead of leaving the side stage, where the stairs were, I just jump off the main part of the front of the stage and I just storm out. And then I just exit and go right to my car and leave.
Oh my God! You didn't even wait to the end of the show?
No, I was like, this is the worst. So
that was literally the last time?
No, I so then after that, I had like the whole drive home. Obviously, is like, what have I done? What the woulda, coulda, shouldas? I never should have even came here. I wasn't on the bill. I just showed up. Who do I think I was? And Wacky's mad at me, and you don't want the Wacky.
Yeah, we don't want Wacky Packy on your bad side.
No.
I'll tell you right now. There's two things I know, and that's don't do that, and I don't know what the other one was.
So I'm driving home, and I'm like, oh man, I got to get, because I even back then with the radio show, I've interviewed enough comedians to know what, like, their advice was always, you got to get back on the horse and do it again, So then I did a bringer show, like that following weekend at the Comedy Cellar. So I was excited to work the Comedy Cellar, but I had to get freaking 5 people. So I dragged 5 people out there, and then for whatever reason, I just don't have the same confidence on stage that I had anymore. And I tried new material and this and that. So then I had to start having a kind of a come to Jesus with myself of what's the future hold for me.
Yeah.
So I decided, I'm just gonna keep doing my radio show, and then I eventually got working into sports as a video editor, and also a writer. So I was doing a lot of things simultaneously, but I was writing for because that's the thing about the radio show and comedy was I started networking and making friends with these comedians. And then I would transcribe the interviews, and then give them to Good Times magazine out here.
Oh, I remember Good Times.
Yeah. So Rich Bransford, he was the publisher of that book, of that magazine. Great guy. He's an unsung hero. I think he's in the Long Island Music Hall of Fame for his contributions to the scene. But
Good Times was big in music. It was on. It was every. I remember they used to have copies of it. They bring down to the tattoo shops all the time. It was still like in that edgy kind of scene. Rock music and tattooing went hand in hand, so my dad had issues with that out there all the time.
Yeah, man, and it was a great magazine. I wrote for that for a number of years. So Rich Bransford, if he's watching this, shout out. And Wacky Packy, if you're watching it too, hope you're okay, buddy.
Wacky Packy. Oh man, that's just a funny nickname. I don't know. You're good. It's one of those nicknames where you're just like, is this guy serious? Because it's almost like, that's bizarre. That's just bizarre. Wacky Packy. What year was that in?
This is like between 98 to 2004. Because I stopped in 2004 is when I moved to North Carolina to work in hockey with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah. Hurricane tattoo.
Yeah, I got the Hurricane tattoo. And that was the year we won the cup. That was a big year, man. Drinking out of the Stanley Cup,
Drinking out of the Stanley Cup. That's got to be one of the coolest things to do.
I drank out with the team. So we got to be close with the team because we were the video team. And so we were, at that time period, man, we were with the team all the time, like every day. And you get to know them, you get to be friends with them and all that. And it was they just got out of a lockout. So in 04, 05, hockey had a lockout, and then 05, 06 they came back, and that's when I got put on full time to work for the team as a videographer and an editor. And then they went on to win the whole thing, man, and I was like...
But it is wild that you get a ring for that, too. I mean, you're working, but at the same time, you're like, come on! It's not the same.
I know.
You're like, yeah, I was there. Fuck it. I got the ring.
I know. They have different level of rings.
Wait, what do you mean? The level? What are you, like a wizard?
Yeah.
Like D&D? Like,
I wish I brought them. I never wear them.
Yeah, no, you should wear... That's it. We should refilm this podcast, and I'll just...
Bring the
I'll
ring.
get, like, my half marathon medal, and I'll just be like, we'll just have our...
Yeah.
My Aragona Comedy Award behind me.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus.
The level, though...
That'll be funny, though.
The player rings are like full knuckle.
Yeah, those are giant.
They're gigantic. And then...
You could break someone's jaw if you hit them with that.
And then employees get the second tier, which is a little bit smaller, a little less diamonds. It was still, I think it's valued at the time for the rings that we got were like 4,000. So not too shabby, yeah.
It's still really cool to just have that appreciation
of knowing that you're in that with everybody else, You know what just happened? You can't see this at home. My fucking chair just broke.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, my chair broke, and now I'm going to be on the floor if I don't do this. So, well, I'm good.
I'm watching the show called Preacher. Have you ever heard of this show?
Oh, yeah, that's the one where it was a comic book, right?
Yeah. And they have like a sympathetic Hitler character. He's in hell, but he's actually like the good guy so far. I mean, it could change.
Preacher has, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one where John Wayne's a ghost in it, right?
There was like a Western theme, but it wasn't John Wayne. It might maybe in the comic book it's John Wayne. Maybe
And it's got a lighter, and the lighter says "fuck communism" on it.
No, well,
maybe it's a different comic book.
Well, I'm only on season 2, so it goes to season 4.
Nah,
so.
that would have been in there. Right? I remember this comic book that had John Wayne in it, and John Wayne had a lighter, and it said "fuck communism" on the lighter.
That's awesome.
And then I learned this totally crazy, interesting fact is that John Wayne actually got in Vietnam. He went to visit the troops, and the special forces over there, or one of those groups, gave him a lighter that said "fuck communism," and that's how he got it. And he thought it was the greatest gift he got. So, you know, Elvis gave everybody a Cadillac. Well, John Wayne would give everybody a lighter, like a gold-plated lighter that said "fuck communism."
No way.
And everyone in Hollywood that was anyone he liked, they had it. Lucille Ball had one. Jackie Gleason had one. Like everybody, they were. Yeah. So I have one too, but it's not from John Wayne though. And that's a story that we didn't even need to tell.
That's cool.
Wrap it up, Chris. Sorry, said. All right. Well, we're back from that commercial break. We're already in. Oh. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Good times. So they heard the John Wayne story. That's cool.
Yeah. I broke my chair. It's because I'm fat and stupid. And you know what? Quite honestly, I feel like Staples or Office Max or Office Depot, one of those places owes me a refund. It's ridiculous.
Dude, so how long have you been doing this this show now? Like, how many guests have you had?
Geez, I'm not even too sure. We're definitely, I don't know, maybe somewhere around like 15 or so now.
You've had some really, really great episodes, dude.
I don't know. Chris, what do you say? You're the guy. Do you know, Chris, how many episodes we're up to? I'm guessing at 15, but...
You're guessing at 15. Andy was 22.
Andy was 22?
This is 23.
Wow, I didn't even realize there was that many. 23. Yeah, we've tried to get, just a lot of people from the Long Island scene, or even just further out. Like, I've delved into some of the New York scene for the, getting different comics in, and I don't know. It's an interesting one, but it's also a tough one because when you're trying to interview people, they usually don't want to get tattooed. Like, what happens on the show? Oh, well, you have to get tattooed.
It's like comedians in cars with coffee, only you go home with a tattoo.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I mean, if you're in the car with Jerry Seinfeld and you don't like coffee, you can have an ice cold Fresca, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what other delights they have. You can have yourself a ginger ale, a tea, even. If you don't want a tattoo here, it's like you're not on the show then, I guess, because.
But you know how
we do.
You know how you said like John Wayne with the lighter. That's what this is now with a Rob White tattoo.
Oh yeah, you get like a little collector, and then
But the who's who of the local scene here. And then if they don't have a Rob White tattoo, then they're not in the cool guys club.
No, you're a nobody. And then when I get arrested, all this will go up in value too. They'll be like, remember that time, Rob White?
Like it turns out you're like a Diddy and you have like the Diddy parties.
Oh yeah, I just got nothing but baby oil all over the place.
And then everybody who has a picture with you is like suspect.
Makes it crazy. What if Diddy's baby oil collection had nothing to do with sex? What if he just had
he just liked it?
The world's largest slip and slide,
Or people collect wine or beer bottles or something.
Like this is a vintage Genovese brand baby oil. Yeah, actually, it's weird. The baby the oil was actually made from babies. That would be even crazier.
That's Illuminati stuff right there.
Yeah. Well, every once in a while you gotta make some, Pizzagate baby oil joke. I don't know what's going on.
Do you think Diddy? What do you think the future for Diddy is?
I don't know. I feel like what Diddy was running was probably... Oh, we're going down the conspiracy path? Let's go down conspiracy. I feel like you've got groups like Mossad and the CIA have done this kind of stuff for a long time. The Mafia used to do it too, where they would have these houses, these whore houses and illegal gambling and prostitution and all this kind of stuff. And then they would catch you there, and then they'd be like, well... We could tell your wife,
right?
Or we could, put this public and you'll never be a senator again. Or you could work for us and then help us to entrap other people.
And I think that a lot of that Epstein Island type of stuff was all, in that same kind of thing where they were just getting information on people and putting them into,
So if Diddy was a part of a government operation, I don't really know, but he was definitely following the lead of people like J. Edgar Hoover,
keeping tabs on individuals. And
Yeah, I mean, it gets heavy duty when you think about the power of some of these people like a Diddy and what he's capable of doing. And if you do go in a room and it's recorded and God forbid you wake up and you find out, oh no, that was a 16-year-old kid and now you're a pedo, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they catch you in that trap,
and then it's like, that's why you just
gotta always think about things as if, I don't know, like God's always watching or something. You know what I mean? Just try not to be a
crappy individual.
But then again, I guess I never been to. I heard Epstein's Island was like really beautiful though. So maybe.
I thought it was nice.
I'm wondering.
You know what I mean? I fly coach, so what do I know? Maybe.
I'm wondering if Puffy's gonna, be full on Epstein. You know what I mean? Like not be around much.
Oh yeah, he's just gonna disappear.
They already put him in a suicide watch.
No, you'd have to with all the craziness that's going on.
It's just nuts, man. I want to know, like, for Epstein, I want that list and I want the Puffy list. I just want to know. It's not going to change anything if you know, but I just want to know.
No, but it's true. You want to know. Like, I feel like we keep hearing all the same people over and over again.
You keep hearing, like, Tom Hanks and, Andy Plajanos. That's all you keep hearing about it. Who's Andy Plajanos? Google it. Google Andy Plajanos. That's the new conspiracy.
Yes.
I don't know why I did that to him.
Good old Andy. Shout out to Andy Plajanos.
He just needed something, I think, No, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next.
But if I've learned anything from watching our government and everything after COVID, like, anything is possible.
That's the thing we do.
Anything could possibly happen right now, and I wouldn't even be surprised.
Nothing sounds crazy anymore.
No.
Everything's like, it could probably be true. Like, there's nothing too outlandish anymore. Like,
no.
You could be like, yeah, space aliens came down, they dressed up as lizard people, and they,
we knew that was going to happen.
They were participants in the freak off, and now they're running for office. And you'd be like, okay,
welcome to it. This all makes sense.
Because it's nuttiness. It's nuttiness out there.
How far do you go on the conspiracy stuff?
Oh, I love that kind of stuff. So, like, when I was a kid,
I grew up in a random environment. My uncle on my mom's side
was a field investigator for the Mutual UFO Network.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know if anybody's familiar with
So you're, like, close to it. Yeah.
MUFON was, like, are you talking about, like, the 90s? When UFOs and stuff were still
considered like crazy person.
The X-Files was basically all we had. We had the X-Files, and that was it. So, like, my uncle would take me on these random field investigations and go out to, like, Montauk and South
Camp Hero
Park and all these crazy things. So, yeah, when everything went on with COVID and all that, I was like, oh yeah, I knew this was gonna happen, like when I was a child.
Yeah, my uncle told me about this 15 years ago. This was gonna happen.
He told me not to worry. It's gonna be fine. We just need to, it's just a new world order. They're always doing this kind of thing.
What were they doing in Montauk? The brain stuff, mind control.
The Montauk Project. Yeah.
It's a wild, wild world. Yeah, I mean UFOs and conspiracies and all that crazy stuff back in the 90s when it was still really, really taboo. Now, like, you see the president will talk about it, and you're like, what? They made Space Force, which is the craziest thing.
Exactly. Nobody questions that either. Oh, Space Force, okay.
Oh, Space Force. Well, we do this. And I'm like, do you explain to me? And they're like, well, it's not what you think it is. It's for computer hacking and for satellites. And I'm like,
I don't know.
Bullshit.
What's the laser guns for?
Bullshit, that's it. They were playing Starship Troopers in outer space, killing interstellar spiders. This is just what we need.
Do you think aliens are among us?
You know what? I used to have all these feelings and theories and beliefs, and it's gotten so insane now that I don't know anymore. I've come full circle to the point where I'm thinking maybe UFOs aren't real at all, and the whole thing has been a government psychological operations that they started in the 1950s.
That's possible too.
That's crazier than thinking UFOs are real right now. So, yeah.
Dude, it's so far gone. Like, again, conspiracy theories for me, I'm like, I guess I'm more, if it's a fence, I'm on the fence. I'm more over the fence, like thinking conspiracies are real.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about, you ever hear simulation theory?
That we're all living in a simulation.
That is a
yeah.
But they talked to
yeah.
one time they had a podcast on there or something like that. And they're talking to a priest, and he's like, "Yeah, of course it's simulation theory." He's like, "What do you think your soul is?" He's like, "We've been telling you this forever."
Yeah, this is all like a computer program. Like we're not.
Yeah, like, and who, like, what is God? Or who is God? So it can get deep, but
It's the ultimate programmer. We're in the Matrix. This is silly.
I was like, if I'm a program, just upgrade me, man. Get me a better. You know, put me in a.
Software needs an upgrade.
Yeah, I need an upgrade, man. Please.
Oh, so touch up on a couple of lines, and then the outline is all in.
It's looking good, man.
How are you faring up there? We're doing well.
Yeah, doing good. This is,
Talking about UFOs and conspiracies.
I think it's cool that you went out on
and
UFO like hunts with your uncle.
it was insane. The stuff that, like, and I saw this as like a kid, like a 12, 13-year-old kid. So I immediately didn't believe in anything the government was saying during COVID or during. I'm like, yeah, sure, great. I remember being, I think I was like 12 or so, and we were all standing in the backyard, and my sister saw this little dot in the sky, and and I was like, what is that? I was like a balloon, and then watched it for a while, and they were all like, it looked like little, like, almost like a balloon, like one of those like Mylar balloons turned sideways, and they were all going like this. And after a while watching, I was like, there's more than one. There was 5 of them. They were in like a square with one off to the top, and then they would rotate, and the square would rotate, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is broad daylight. This isn't a nighttime light thing. It's weird, And so then my sister, my other sister, and then my mom, my dad, and then all our neighbors come out, and everyone's out there, all the adults, and they're all looking at it, and I'm like, what is that? Parents are like, we have no idea. I don't have no idea what that is. And I'm like, yeah, you guys don't know shit. That's what I realized. My parents don't know anything about anything. I'm like, for my whole entire life, they're like, ghosts aren't real. Just go to sleep. I'm like, yeah, easy for you to say. Right. Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing. And then one day I'm like, you guys don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Nobody. And now as I'm older, I'm like, nobody knows anything.
No. Even when you think you know, you don't.
I'm not even sure. Yeah,
like,
I mean,
who knows what we think we know is even what we know.
I'm 90% sure that you're here right now. But there's 10% of me that's like, this is a hologram, he's an alien.
It could be a hallucination.
Tattoos aren't real, this is a fever dream that's been going on for 44 years.
You ever hear those guys that do like mushrooms or something?
Yeah.
And then they have like a whole life, and then they wake back up and they're like, holy shit, maybe that's what this is.
I had a conversation with a colony of ants one time, and I was like, they were like doing the same shit as me, They were just like going down, getting the sap, coming back up, you know what I mean?
Never ends.
Just living the dream down here in ant colony, and I'm like, you're like a union laborer down there. Yeah, this sucks. I gotta go home to my aunt, wife, and kids.
It never ends, man.
Fat bitch is sitting on the sofa, ain't done shit all week, car's breaking down, ain't got no money. And I'm like, wow, ants.
I gotta do it all again tomorrow, man.
You're the same as me.
Looking for crumbs every day.
Hey, you got any sugar? We love sugar. Sugar's like heroin, guys.
Yeah. Leave some sugar, man.
Ants love. That's all I got out of that drug trip. Talking to the ants was that ants love sugar.
A lot. They love sugar. I don't know why.
Wow.
They don't have it in there.
Well, sugar is a drug. World. It's like the most addictive substance, I think.
Yeah, probably I'd say so. Yeah. I snorted the line of it about a half hour ago. Still going strong. All right. You want to take a break or anything like that?
No,
or,
I'm good.
You're good? Yeah. I'm good if you're good. So we keep going. Yeah, but I always offer it up because, I don't know if... I
appreciate it.
Sometimes in the middle of this, you have to take a dump, That's how it goes.
So far, so good. Knock on wood.
That would be... That'd be fun to announce in the middle of anything. I have to take a dump real quick. No, yeah, I grew up in a weird world. We have all grown up in a weird world, though, when you think about it.
That's what I was saying earlier, man. It's a good time to be alive because we're living through really crazy times. I mean, then every day you turn on the news, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, every day is something different.
Anything could happen, and I wouldn't even know what was real or fake anymore. That's the weirdest thing right now. Like, Jesus could come back and be like, I swear it's me. I swear I'm the immortal Jesus. And I'd be like,
Prove it.
Parlor trick with David Blaine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that Mind Freak guy. I swear to God, it's him. Remember Mind Freak? Who was that
Chris
guy?
Angel.
Chris Angel.
Long Island guy.
Stop screwing with us, Jesus.
That's how it would be, you know? Yeah. The world got so strange, so strange.
It just seems like everyone was worried when year 2000 hit. Remember that?
Y2K. I was a Y2K guy.
And we thought nothing changed after that, but no, everything turned upside down, man. The 2000s have been nutty, man.
No, they have been. They have been weird. It's so strange right now. It almost feels like that we've slipped into another dimension of some sort, that
I definitely think that's another conspiracy that I'm like, yeah, maybe we did. Maybe there is dimension slipping.
I mean, if time travel was going to happen and we didn't know about it, it would probably be happening right now. So if you think about that, you're like probably in some government laboratory in Switzerland and Lausanne or CERN or whatever. They're time traveling, and then just every day they're like, what did you do? What did you do now? Like, oh, we went back to Texas, and then, maybe everything was okay until...
Well, remember that one UFO that they saw, that the Navy saw, that was flying all kinds of crazy...
Yeah, the Tic Tac, yeah.
So there's a theory that might not be an alien, a space alien, but it might be a time traveler. So some guy from the future flying around, and then he went back into the water, the ocean, and maybe went back to his time or whatever.
Yeah, he skedaddled on out of here because he was like, "Oh shit,
I'm in the 2020s, shittiest point in all of history."
It is the worst history ever.
They didn't know what was going. They didn't even know what genders were back then. It was weird. Remember that?
That was that weird time period. They forgot what genders were.
They were standing on dots in the supermarket back then. We were stupid. I hope I live long enough to see history books talk shit about what we're doing now.
Oh, man. It all depends on who's writing the books, man.
They're just like, remember back then, they wouldn't even let you say the word retarded. How retarded was that? Because in the future, they say it again.
They're allowed to say it. I feel like that one came back. That's one of the ones that came back.
You know what? It's
It was never really, it was used, I guess, but it's an actual, term, for a condition, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. All these terms and conditions for medical, whatever you want to call them, maladies or
they all become our slang words
for the people in our society that are screwing up, or
right. They're doing silly, some guy that's drinking like twisted teas and riding his lawnmower down the street at 2:00 in the morning. You got to have a name for him. What did you call him? He's a moron. He's an imbecile. He's stupid. He's an idiot. Well, all those words back in the day were medical.
Right.
This gentleman right here, he has a terrible case of idiocy and moronism. Like what?
Moronism?
Whatever it was. He's suffering from idiocracy or whatever. They always had names for shit.
I'm not a scientist. I don't know the exact terms, but
Did you ever hear that story of Thomas Edison, man? So Thomas Edison, when he was a little kid, his teacher gave him a note to bring home to his mother. Comes home, gives it to his mother. His mother reads it, and she goes, "Okay, Thomas, this letter says that your teacher said that you're a genius and that you're so smart that he can't teach you anymore. So for now on, I'm going to teach you here." So Thomas Edison was like, "Wow, I'm a genius," and then went on to become Thomas Edison. So years later, his mother dies, and he's cleaning out the room, and he finds that letter. And in that letter, the teacher wrote, "Dear Mrs. Edison, your son is, not up to speed. I don't think he's capable of learning. He's retarded. And
imagine.
yeah, and so if his mother would have read him the real letter, it might have changed everything. I think, so it's all perception of how you believe in yourself, and
No, it's true. It's true. If you give people the right, that little bit of what's it called, the confidence, they can do amazing things.
If you
Wouldn't
believe
it be cool if Edison was both, though?
I think he probably was.
I made a light bulb! Yay! I'm fucking Thomas Edison, everybody! Guess what? I made a light bulb! And they were like, Edison made a light. God damn it, Edison. He was just so brilliant, but also...
He was like accidentally brilliant.
He was like, someone better invent Velcro soon, because I don't know how to tie my shoes.
He's the Forrest Gump of inventors.
Hey, buddy! That's a good line. Guys, made a phonograph. Should we record my voice? No, Tom, no, don't record. You enjoy my voice. It's gonna be sweet. He's like, no, dude, let's let this English gentleman do Mary Had a Little Lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Hey, lamb. Stupid. So stupid. I don't know if retarded Thomas Edison will be on the album.
That's great.
But I like to think that would be a fun time.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Oh, but okay, but on a serious note,
The people that are going to come up with the new stuff are not going to be thinking like the common person.
they're going to be people. You see it right now that the children that are people that are diagnosed with autism and different learning disabilities, they're inventing stuff. Like, I don't know what Elon Musk has, but he has some
autistic.
sort of like, right? What they used to call it, Asperger's or something.
Yeah.
And he's going to the moon and Mars, and
he's going to save those two astronauts that are stuck up there.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, his SpaceX is going to be the ones because
that's going to be so, like, imagine being that guy and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, Elon Musk, you're mentally deficient or what have you, and you're like, yeah, am I? I'm doing sick shit. I'm flying around in outer space right now.
I think, again, autism, there's many different layers and levels to it all, but a lot of it is social disorders. And if you look at Elon, he's not really great socially. I mean, he's good when he's on, certain podcasts and things like that. But, and then also on Twitter, he's always on there. I think that guy lives on Twitter, but...
Yeah, he definitely is on there a lot. I noticed that today, too, actually. So weird you brought that up.
Yeah. Every time I'm on there, I'm like, how is this guy running anything? He's just retweeting Trump. He's just like, see what Trump did? I like that. That's my Elon.
But yeah, I mean, I get it, though. In order to be some type of a character that changes the fabric of the world, you have to think differently, because it's the people that have been thinking the same all the time that have got us into this situation. So, if you have some kid with, high functioning autism and he doesn't speak and he's socially awkward, yeah, he's spending a lot of time in his brain being like, oh, how do I clean up this mess that we guys made?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
I would hope.
Some of them are like, can be virtuosos in like music and like piano and things like that. Others math. So they excel at, it's all with the brain, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if certain parts are weaker, then it strengthens other parts,
There's definitely a it's like good and bad autism, though. I don't know how to say that in a good way, because I know some people that have it, and I'm like, we're doing amazing things. And I know other people, and it's just like, oh man, you're killing me.
Yep, getting the lion, king of the jungle. I'm a Leo. I always wanted to get a lion. So
an actual lion? Like a
pet lion? Yeah. Dude, did you ever see that video of that guy who went in to get his wallet? He left his wallet in the lion cage or something? or
I
he
think
saw.
he left it in there.
Or he
Where'd I
saw-
put my wallet? Oh, that goddamn lion
Well,
cage.
I think he might have just saw a wallet in there and,
Oh, no way.
and decided, you know what, I want to see what's in that wallet. So he got
That's the greatest prank ever.
Leave the wallet in the lion cage prank. It's America's funniest.
dude.
So how mauled does that guy get?
It's the craziest video because he goes in there and he grabs it and he sees the lion coming at him and his daughter is filming it. So he's like, he's like, oops, looks like the lion's coming. Like he's like really casual. He tries to trot out of the cage towards the door, but the lion grabs him, and then the guy's like, you know, begging for his daughter to help him, and the daughter's just freaking out. And then all of a sudden the lion drags him back into the bush. You see the guy.
And she's done. He's over. Like, but he's in a lot. Like, why would you go in there? Like,
It's the dumbest thing. And the guy lived. That's why I tell the story. And but the lion did not, which pisses me off.
what? Well,
That's the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, they had
I'm
to
so
put the
sick
lion.
of that crap.
Yeah.
When you do that, like
That's at that point. That's Darwinism. You know, if you run into a cage to see that the wallet has money in it, you know, then you are suffer from Moroniism or whatever.
yeah. I mean, it's like, but
years ago, there was the story of Harambe. Remember Harambe, the gorilla?
Oh yeah.
Like Harambe, there was the zoo.
Yes.
And there was like, I don't know, some like little Puerto Rican kid fell into the enclosure, and they were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" You know, it was a silverback gorilla.
Yeah, man.
And then they chose to shoot silverback gorilla, and I was just like, you know how many silverback gorillas we have? Like, we don't have that many.
And they're killing the animals for being the animal. Like,
shoot the fucking Puerto Rican kid. We got a lot. Never been to the parade? There's a lot.
a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. We can make another in 15 minutes. It's not that hard.
But silverbacks have really rare. But,
Oh, man.
But, you know, a lion is being a lion. The silverback is being a silverback. And because of some stupidity, they lose their life.
Yeah, that's insane. Because it's really, it's just what you said. We said Darwin, right? You know?
I thought you said Darwin.
Yeah,
I'm looking that up.
Darwinism. Yeah, survival, you know, like, because people weed themselves out by doing stupid things.
I mean, honestly, I think we should put more wallets in the cage. Do you know what I mean? Put wallets, put gold chains, put like keys to like a Toyota Camry in there. Whatever you can find. Whatever gets people excited. I'm not a discriminator. You can put a MAGA hat in there.
Yeah.
You can put whatever you like.
Whatever's going to
and
lure
people
people
will
in.
just jump in the thing, and then, oh boy,
Yeah, you got
what
another
happened
one.
to me? Oh, the lion. Give the lion a MAGA hat. Make him wear a hat. So they just look over and they're like, it looks like he supports my cause. We get the hate from the right tonight. That'll be fun.
Oh, man. So, dude, of all your 22 episodes, what's your, like, highlight reel?
Out of all the things that have gone on here, I think that the best one for views was where I was talking about people getting tattoos, and you know, and I was like, just get an eagle, just get it. And people got so mad. Well, I don't want an eagle. Like, relax.
I understand that
You know.
philosophy. You're saying, hey, man, I make these stencils, and, you know, people should come to here to get, you know, the artwork that I make. You know,
I mean, to
I
some
think that's
degree.
kind of the argument,
No,
right?
it's
I
true,
think,
it's
yeah,
true.
I think
I mean,
that's
I get-
valid.
listen, you got to get what you want to get at the end of the day.
But
I
everybody
get that.
nowadays is coming in with their own, you know.
It gets to be so much sometimes where you're like, you know, unless you have some kind of thing where you're like,
Like you had the picture for your
Right,
brother.
right.
You knew what you wanted. That
Right.
makes sense.
but people will come in and they have a vague idea. They're like, well, I want a rose. Awesome. You want a rose? There's dozens and dozens of roses drawn. You can pick a nice rose that we've drawn, that we've designed for, this.
And they're like, nah, I'm just gonna look on the phone right in front of you, and you're like, this is insane.
Yeah. When
This
you got
is like going to the Chinese restaurant, looking at the menu, and being like, I don't want to eat any of this shit. You know what I want? Like what? Here's a picture, and then they show you a picture of chicken parmesan. And you're like, you know, you're in a Chinese restaurant, right? Well, I don't care. All right.
No, I totally understand, and that's why, like, you know.
But you have to get what you want. People confuse that for like, yeah. Sometimes you have an idea of what you want, and you got to go to the guy that does that, and you got to figure it all out. But other times, like, just see what happens. See what might happen. You might be surprised if you went to a restaurant and said, "What do you think is the best meal?" Oh,
Right.
we made this new thing today. You made something new? Try it. You know.
I like the other tattoos that I have. When I got one of my kids, those are right off the wall. I just pick stencils right off the wall.
Yeah.
And back then, that was before the TV shows and all that stuff, and the Ink Master. Before, you know, people, I guess, wanted to design their own stuff or have
it was a
artist,
little more, you know, pick it and stick it kind of thing. And people put that low. They're like, oh, that's really low. That,
You know, that type of art because you pick it off the wall. And I go, your whole life is picked off of a rack. You know, I
That's
mean,
a
you
great
don't
point.
go,
Yeah.
you don't say, oh, I need a new outfit. Let me show a tailor picture, unless you have it like that.
Right? Yeah.
you go to Kohl's and you use your Kohl's cash and you get yourself, a sweet flannel. I don't know. You know, you go to the car dealership. A car is a huge, huge expense, but you're not custom
Building it on, you're not doing that with anything else in this world. But then when people get the tattoos, they're like, oh, this definitely,
I need to custom build it from the floor up. And when you do that, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't.
man, imagine if you went to a car dealership with just a couple of drawings and a photograph of a car that you liked.
I wanted to look like this, and yeah.
And they just built it. Like,
All right, have it for you in a couple hours.
I don't know if 5 wheels is good, but
That's what Jack wants, 5-wheel car.
Can't make me laugh when you do it. But and you know what else too? They don't understand the time that you did to create all of these stencils in the first place.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of thought process,
Yeah, and I'm looking at your stencil wall right now, like a flash wall here,
Yeah.
and
all
it's
the
a
designs and stuff,
great
yeah.
stuff, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the stuff that I like and I'm into, and I'm a little more picky and choosy nowadays. I'm like, look,
we're gonna make it, but it could be anything, but it's gonna have to be in like a
traditional sort of style. That's what
Right,
I always
right.
tell
That's
people.
your
I'm like,
specialty.
it's just what it's the way my brain kind of works and how it operates. Is it the best way? No, but to me it is. I don't know. Somebody said it. I can't remember who said the quote. They said, "You can get any. There's many different styles of tattoos, but the only style you're gonna get from me is mine."
Right. Yeah. There you go.
And
But that should be everyone's kind of thing, no matter what you're doing.
When
If
you
hire someone on, that's you get them.
when you were coming up in the scene, did you try different styles? Like, when did you find your style? Like, what fit you?
It kind of came around back to it. Like in the beginning, when I was a kid,
it was just tracing out old traditional tattoo designs and redoing
that old stuff from the 40s, 50s, 60s, even into the 70s, redoing those old designs to learn the basic, what do you want to call that? Like the fundamentals, the structure, the skeleton frame of how tattoos should be.
Right.
And then, of course, from there, I delved into all kinds of stuff. I did a lot of like fine line black and gray and Celtic knot work, and I tried to draw graffiti, and I did tribal, and you do all these different things, but then eventually you come around to
Like
that
happy
one
place.
stuff.
Yeah.
But that should be, I think that's the way it's supposed to kind of be, because if you think about like a musician or any other art form,
even like in comedy, what do? You just explore all the different styles, and you go, all right, well, I could be a prop comic, I could be this, I could be that, but I'm choosing to do, for me, like that rant style of comedy.
Right.
and it doesn't mean that it's a better than,
Impressions or ventriloquist or
whatever, but it's what I enjoy.
Right. You kind of find your voice and who you are throughout the process. Yeah.
But you should know a basic background of everything. I mean, people are always surprised to find out that a lot of the modern artists, the Picassos and, Jackson Pollacks and those kind of guys were able to do realism. They were able to do detailed work.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just hacks that did this. No, they
people
figured
don't realize
it out.
Jackson knew how to paint. Yeah, Jackson Pollack wasn't just a splatter guy.
Yeah, that was something that came out of him experimenting,
And he was great at it. I mean, I don't know, man. I used to think all splatter was the same until I saw the documentary about Jackson Pollock.
Yeah,
Then saw the intricacies of the layers and the thickness of the paint and the colors he chose. And
Same thing. I went to the museum. Was it the Museum of Modern Art? And I saw the one painting he had. I think it's Blue Poles. Just the painting, and it reminded me in a way. Remember those posters back in the day where you'd squint and you'd look.
Oh,
and
you could see something.
Your eyes would go out of focus, and all of a sudden you'd see like the zebra having sex with a deer or something. It was some random thing was happening, going on there, and you didn't see it, but then you see it. And that was how Pollack was for me. It didn't look flat.
Right,
it looked
right.
like it was 1,000 miles, and then nothing at the same time.
have you ever gone to his museum?
Yeah,
his house,
his
or whatever,
house out
studio?
there.
Yeah, I want to go to that.
And that was a pretty cool experience because you could see all the paint on the floor from where he had been painting
Even
all those
the paint
years.
can's still there, right? Like the
Yeah,
brush,
paint cans, all kinds of stuff.
like
is
they
still
left
there.
it as is. Yeah.
No, I'm a big fan of Pollack's work. I think that what he did was insane, and yet, people just don't respect it because they just think, that's just splatter work.
They don't.
But I understand that from tattooing because people will look at a lot of traditional tattoos and be like, oh, that looks like a cartoon. And I go, yeah, that might look like a cartoon, but it predates cartoons by, I don't know, thousands of years. So if anything, this tattoo doesn't look cartoony. This cartoon looks tattooy.
Right.
It's a funny kind of thing.
Just adjusting here.
Yep.
Okay.
Microphone there.
Okay.
Most important part
Sorry.
of the whole thing: the microphone and the machine. Shading some spots out here, and then I'm gonna jump into color. But
Nice.
yeah, now it's you're interviewing me over here, Mr. Interview Man. This is not how it works.
No, I'm just
I'm
interested.
just realizing. I'm like, I'm doing an interview? No. That's your podcast. No, but you have interviewed a lot of people and a lot of comics. So I guess the question that I was thinking when coming up to this was, like, who do you think who is like your favorite one to interview out of all the people that you've had on?
That's a tough one, because
Or just maybe a few of the favorites, because you never can figure out just one. I could never do that.
every interview is like a case by case, like and then because I think one of the things with interviewing is you have to like always genuinely be interested in your subject, right?
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so everybody that I interview, no matter how big or how small, like industry standards or whatever, I treat everyone the same going in, and then some people are better interviews than others. Some people have more to say than others. Some people are more interesting than others. In the podcasts, what I like about I used to do interviews for magazines and stuff like that, and it was different because when you're writing for magazines, you're kind of interviewing for the pull quote, like you're trying and you're talking about like their album, or you're talking about whatever and you're just trying to get quotes. So it's a different style of interviewing than podcast, which is long form. You can talk about all different kinds of stuff, and you get different take on people. I think Tommy Chong was probably one of I got
Cheech and Chong,
I got to interview Tommy Chong, and what was the coolest about that was it was the 50th year of their first album, and so it was the anniversary year of that, and that's the one with the famous Dave's not here.
Dave's not here, man.
So he told me a story about Dave's not here. They improv that whole thing. Cheech was really like, let me in, man. Like the first take, I think, was the one they kept. They did a second take, but they didn't use it. But he was really locked Cheech out and was really just messing with him. So Cheech's like, hey, man, open the door. What's going on? And he's like, who?
Oh, that was really just...
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So, but I told Tommy Chong, that I love that bit. So he let me do it with him. So I have me and
fun.
Me and Chong. He's like, "Who's there?" I go, "It's Don." He's like, "Don's not here."
That's fun.
So that was a pretty cool podcast moment. And I interviewed Tom Dreesen, who's a legendary comic. Came up with David Letterman. He was the. Do you remember back in the '70s when the comics tried to organize a union? and
that
all
was
that.
out at this the comedy store.
The comedy
right?
store.
Yeah, yeah.
And that one guy killed himself and jumped off the building and all that shit.
Oh no, I didn't even know that part.
Yeah, there's
Damn,
this comic. Talk about dying in vain, man. This guy jumped off a building and he left a note on pinned to his shirt that said, "I died because I couldn't get booked at the comedy store," or something like that. Isn't that the dumbest reason to kill yourself?
Oh man, that is.
But Tom,
That is crappy. I mean, because you imagine like the next day they just called his phone, and then it was Mitzi Shore. Was just
it's like,
he's not there. He's not answering.
where is this guy? Yeah, it's
He just hearts on the street. Well, there goes that.
Yeah, he jumped off the building that was right next to the comedy store, so he died like right in the street next.
Why did I not know that? That's such a weird comedy history is a big thing, and I didn't know that.
It was this Italian comic. I can't think of his name.
Oh well, that's his Italian.
Like the Barbarino type of guy. No, like
We got enough of
no,
those. Come on, come on. Just a pile of marinara in the street. What's going? Oh, that's awful.
Like he had that Barbarino. Remember Vinny Barbarino from Welcome
Yeah,
Back?
Welcome Back, Kotter. Sure.
He had that kind of hairdo. That guy.
Okay.
I almost can remember his name, but
like a pompadour almost.
Yeah,
Not
like,
pompadour, but he had like a big,
like the frizzy.
yeah.
And
Oh, man, that sucks though.
but Tom Dreesen was in charge of that whole union, and that kind of, and then they took sides. Like there was comedians that were like scabs, and then there was the comedians that held strong, and like, it was Dreesen, Jay Leno, and Letterman.
Leno was there.
Yeah, and then there was. They were at war with the improv club, and they burned the improv down. There's all kinds of crazy shit, but yeah. So Tom Dreesen, hearing his stories was cool. I just had another good comic on the other day, Rich Scheidner. I like talking comedy history with these older comics.
Yeah,
that lived
you
through
learn
like,
a lot from that.
the '80s boom and all that stuff. So yeah. Who?
Steve Lebutkin.
Oh yeah, that's him, Lebutkin. Yeah. That's Steve Lebutkin's the one who jumped off the building
It's crazy.
and left the note. You know, did it say what the note said? Like, I just want to.
Actually, yeah. My name is Steve Lebutkin. I used to work at the Comedy Store. That's what it says.
Oh yeah, so that's what it says. See, I knew I didn't have the quote right.
Oh,
so
I
that's
guess
why.
because they wouldn't let him work anymore.
Yeah.
Lebutkin hoped that his suicide note would resolve the labor dispute. He also cited Shore as the reason he no longer had a job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that the craziest reason to jump off a building? Like, it's just, there's so many better reasons to jump off a building.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, you know.
Yeah, have a better note, man. But they said that guy was, wacky, obviously, and like a lot of his, like Tom Dreesen said, he knew him and said he was a little off, it was, a little crazy.
So, basically, I should just apologize to Evan again so he doesn't jump off the... Evan! I swear I'm sorry.
Yeah, Evan, don't be jumping off buildings.
What's up with Bill? I'm going to do it.
Who else I have? I had some good ones, man. Mitch Fatel.
Yeah.
He was great. We had Wayne Fetterman. Wayne Fetterman does a lot of documentaries.
Wayne Fetterman. Why do I know that name so familiar and I can't put a picture?
He's a comedian. Was really good friends with Gary Shandling.
Oh yeah, Gary Shandling, sure.
And he did the Gary Shandling documentary. He was part of that, and he's also part of the George Carlin documentary that just happened.
I watch a lot of documentaries. I probably saw that in the documentary.
Yeah. Wayne Fetterman's an awesome dude. Knows a lot about comedy. Wrote a book about comedy. Yeah, so I've had I can't think of them all, but I've had a lot of big names, and then the local scene, pretty much all the
Yeah, you get to deal with a
whole
lot of different
pack.
people.
Dude, Long Island's got a really strong comedy scene and comedy history. So many great comedians came out of here.
I agree, yeah.
We are like an epicenter for it. And despite the fact that we're living in the shadow
New York City, I think we still turn out more of the top comics in the world than anywhere else.
Dude, we had two of the top comedians of all time, in Lenny Bruce.
Yep,
and
Bruce.
and Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, no, Lenny. I would even state, okay, New York City, tries to lay claim to Brooklyn and Queens, but that's on Long Island.
That's on Long Island.
So George Carlin counts.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman, that's another one.
Dice Clay. Andy Kaufman's definitely, I think he's Plainview.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, of course, Seinfeld. Ray Romano, you can count him in Queens.
Yeah. Kevin James, Rosie O'Donnell,
Brewer.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, Amy Schumer counts. She counts.
Jim Brewer. Yeah, Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer counts. Dave Attell. Do you know that Dave Attell's sister used to babysit Amy Schumer, and they never knew like that until later on? Like that, she was like, "That was your sister." Like, you know.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so strange. But yeah, it's a small world.
Dude, Long Island, man. I think I wanted to do a documentary, and I still might. And I need John Blenn to host it, because he's the guy.
John Blenn, yeah, he's got photos of everybody.
Yeah, he's the dude. He's been around for it all. But or Richie Minervini, one of those. But I want to call it "There's Something in the Water," and do a documentary about Long Island comedy. Scenes since Lenny Bruce all the way through to when all those clubs started getting built around here. From the White House, and then East Side Comedy, Governors. Governors is still the oldest one standing.
Out in the east side or south side.
East Side Comedy Club.
The one that was out in the Hamptons. There was one out in the Hamptons years ago. Yeah. I can't remember the actual name of it. I actually met a guy whose family owned it years ago.
Oh, wow.
I was trying for a while to get something done, and I just don't know how to do it or what you would do for Lenny Bruce in Belmore, because his family and him, he grew up like blocks away from the Brokerage Comedy Club. And I thought, like, how crazy is that he was right
here, but there's nothing for him in the town. But then what could you do? Because he's kind of...
Because Lenny...
He's a lot, you know?
He's from Long Island, right? But he really came of age in San Francisco scene.
Right.
Like, that's where, when he saw Mort Saul.
Yeah, Mort Saul, yep.
He said that one day he was at a club at the Hungry Eye in San Francisco, and the waitress said, was talking to Lenny, and she says, what do you want to do? He's like, he pointed to Mort Saul. He goes, I want to be Mort Saul when I grow up. And they were like the same age or whatever, but it's Lenny's jokes. But the fact that Lenny Bruce was inspired by Mort Saul, because Mort was already doing political humor then and all that stuff, kind of changed the game. And then Lenny just took it and ran with it, man. But I think that's why we don't see a lot of Lenny with Long Island, because he's more associated with San Francisco.
Yeah, that's just true.
I'm actually reading his book. His biography is over there in the corner. You can see it from here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, one of the coolest things I read
in that was the whole correlation between jazz music and the idea of stand-up comedy.
And in like Lenny Bruce inspired from jazz, because jazz
his whole cadence
was a whole, like, you don't have to do the full song. You could do like a bend the note sort of thing, what's that quintessential jazz song? The Saints Go Marching In,
Right. Everybody plays it different. Yeah.
And you could just,
right.
You could change it up, and you could make it like, And so one thing that he borrowed from jazz directly in that was the idea that you could turn around and, in doing an impression before that, you'd have to put on the glasses and put on the hat and turn around and put on the jacket. But in doing it with the way he was doing it, you have to do it quick on the fly. So just if you turn your face a certain way, or if you posture yourself a certain way, now all of a sudden you're whoever you're impersonating, and that's kind of how jazz was just to break things down and make it simple.
Well, that's what Lenny did. How he changed the game too, because he like you said, he talked with jazz. He even used like jazz lingo.
Yeah.
And he mixed it up also with Yiddish and English and all kinds of stuff. And then he also had a tempo to his jokes. It was almost jazz-like the way he even delivered a joke and spoke. And he even snapped his fingers a lot because he was keeping his pace.
He was trying to keep with the culture of what he was in, and not just do the same old vaudevillian style of comedy. I mean, really revolutionized how comedy.
He made it more conversational, and he made it looser. It wasn't set up, punch, tag. It was more like, I'm telling you a story, I'm telling you my philosophies. His jokes within, a lot of shock value jokes. One of the cool things that Lenny did was he wanted to prove a point because he was getting arrested all the time for saying, the C word and the F word and all.
Yeah.
So he said, words are just words. He's like, it's the value you give that word. It's just a sound. What makes the word dirty or good is the value you give it. So he's like, I'm going to change the words right now. He's like, so the F word is going to be table, and my penis is going to be a chair. So then he went on to do this really super dirty bit about giving the chair to the table and all the stuff, and this, table and chair, and just go, and the crowd is roaring, laughing. It's the dirtiest thing they've ever heard. But the FBI couldn't arrest him because he didn't say the curse word.
Yeah.
He just replaced those words with two, other words.
Brilliantly smart.
Yeah, so he just proved the point by doing like one of his dirtiest sets ever without saying a single curse word. That's the kind of genius that I love about Lenny Bruce. And it's a shame what happened to him, how he got taken down and canceled.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, and that's the thing that I thought was fascinating and most fascinating about him is, now, the comedy-wise, if you listen to Lenny Bruce cut right now, it's not, I'm sorry to say,
it's not going to hold up.
I'm not like, oh my God, this guy's so funny.
Yeah, he's not,
if you're laughing at Lenny Bruce stuff now, I don't know what you're doing. I just don't know. Whatever the drug is, it's better than anything I've got. So, but he was willing to get arrested for it.
Yeah.
He was willing to go out and say comedy and freedom of speech is so important that I'm willing to put my life on the line for it and to truly, and that's kind of something that we lost in comedy. All these guys were willing to sacrifice. George Carlin, they were willing to sacrifice. And then when it got tough, and then they were, go back to like COVID, they were coming up with all these restrictions and mandates and telling everybody what they could and couldn't do. And all of a sudden, all these comedians who would say whatever they want to do, whatever they want to, were like, well, just follow the mandates. And it was like, even during like cancel culture, people were getting canceled. Well, he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah,
and you're like, where did you all suddenly become these babies?
Carlin said, the comedian's job is to find the line and cross it deliberately. And these comedians, like especially in that era, forgotten that. And then we started seeing them come out and doing it, like Bill Burr's and the Chappelles.
Yeah,
they came out.
Back,
they came back and they fought against it. And then everyone was like, "Oh, we're allowed again? Okay, let's follow them." And so it was just
no, it's true. I mean, people tend to not understand with comedy and the speech issue, the freedom of speech issue. It's sometimes comedians are saying things just to be edgy, but also too at the same time they're saying things because it's creating. I don't know what it is. How I explain it. It's like testing the waters. It's going, hey, we're still able to say this. We're still able to do this. It's not just about shock value. It's about we have to say this.
We have to say it.
So
we'll
that we can show
it.
you.
Right.
Like you can't. Like burning the flag is one of those things that's it's necessary in order to defend freedom of speech.
Right.
And you're like, what? You have the freedom of speech, and that's what the flag stands for. But you have to burn the flag in order to understand it. So it's kind of the same.
Well, that was kind of the thing.
Well,
that was kind of the thing with Larry Flint, the People versus Larry Flint. Larry Flint was the pornographer, Hustler magazine, I think. So Larry Flint had to go to court and all this stuff for pornography and all that stuff. But what the courts ended up doing was he has the right to have bad taste. So like, okay, yes, it's smut, it's pornography, whatever. Everybody has an opinion on it, but he's got the right to do that. So you have the right to have bad taste. So like, if you don't agree with what somebody says, they have the right to say it. So yeah, I mean, it's works both sides. So
it's true.
Yeah. And then that's what we're in trouble with is when people try to silence that side, like we're seeing now in England with the memes and the tweets, and they're getting arrested for tweeting about it.
Isn't it weird?
Dude.
Freedom of speech is in trouble in 2024.
Yep.
When you think that this would have been one of those issues that would have come around the era of the Gutenberg printing press.
Yeah. Or been resolved.
Way,
yeah. It's definitely...
I know. But thank God we're still here defending it in our own weird way.
We're here talking about,
You're almost done. I got a little bit of white highlights in here. And
dude, it looks
and
awesome.
That's going to be popping out more once it
stops bleeding and everything. Once the colors, we'll clean them all off really good too. A little bit of this.
Oh, this is great, man.
Yeah, this is a fun, weird podcast. I enjoy doing it. We get to talk and BS and it's what I've done in the tattoo shop since I started tattooing as a kid. We just sit here and talk and tattoo and come up with all the solutions to all the problems in the world. You know, it's really what it is. You're like, oh, we solved it. We solved everything. Cool.
Yeah, we solved a lot of stuff today.
You know, we gotta recap. We got the
UFOs and hockey and
what's his name? Remember the light bulb?
Oh, Thomas Alva Edison.
Edison.
Who would have inventor of the
the saxophone? I don't know what he invented.
All kinds of stuff. He was, but some people say he also wasn't always honest. He stole some of his inventions.
Yeah, I mean that happens.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, what are you gonna do? Sometimes you just gotta. It's how else are we gonna get our material?
Yeah, they I don't think any of our heroes are pure. they can find something wrong with everybody.
No, everybody here on this planet has done something. You know, we're all here because we're trying to be better, not necessarily are better. Oh, look at this. We are.
Dude, you rock, man.
And I'm going to clean this down good. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, so ends another fun episode of Who the F is Rob White. My guest, Mr. Don Sill. Don, say anything to the camera there.
Thanks so much to Rob White and Black Duck Tattoo Shop here. This has been, and also Rock Gut Studios. This has been a fantastic time. Walking away with a great, fantastic tattoo. And please check out the podcast, Donversations, and check me out on Instagram, Donversations as well. I could use all the love I can get on that.
Absolutely, it's a fun show. I've been on that show, and it's a good time. And also, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last episode of the season. I should have said that in the beginning, but I didn't want to ruin it. We are taking a break for a little while, and we'll be back in a couple months when we have everything sorted out. If you're interested in being on the show and you're a stand-up comic, or hell, if you think you might be a good guest, we'll see. Give me a message, drop a message, and we'll see what we can come up with. Don, thank you so much for being on the show.
Bro. This is awesome. Man. Appreciate it.
Like, share, subscribe, and talk to us in the comments. And we're out.